Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Shackle 5858. I am Amish Shackle. Foreign news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please let's go to the headlines.
David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast, now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted, now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight, several breaking stories as we come on the air. An armed man ramming a truck into one of America's largest synagogues. Also tonight, a deadly campus shooting, ROTC students and a teacher targeted. Authorities say a possible act of terrorism. And just in tonight, the U.S. military now saying an American refueling aircraft has gone down in Iraq. First tonight, the chilling scene at a synagogue outside Detroit. A truck smashing through the front doors of Temple, Israel. Sources telling ABC News tonight the driver was armed with a rifle. Security opening fire. 140 children inside at a preschool. Also tonight, the horrific deadly shooting on campus at Old Dominion University in Virginia. Tonight now being investigated as a possible terror attack. Or in Iran tonight, just moments ago, the Pentagon now reporting a U.S. refueling aircraft has gone down in Iraq. The rescue effort now underway. It comes as Iran escalates attacks on oil tankers and oil facilities. A vessel consumed by flames. And tonight, the first public statement claiming to be from the new supreme leader. What he is vowing Iran will do as oil and gas prices surge. Ian Panel from the region again tonight. Also this evening, tracking back-to-back winter storms sweeping into Lee Goldberg has the forecast. Tonight, the FBI searching for a missing retired Air Force Major General, vanishing from his home nearly 2 weeks ago now. They say he held some of the most sensitive jobs. An unruly passenger on board a flight from Miami to Denver, the violent altercation with an off-duty police officer. The goal of a lifetime, the high school hockey player scoring the game-winning goal, his personal triumph over unimaginable tragedy. And in New York City tonight, remembering a longtime news anchor with deep roots in New York.
Thursday night, vowing revenge. What Iran's new supreme leader is threatening.
It's the only weapon they really have to make the U.S. stop.
And the widening scope of Israel's bombardments on Lebanon. A holy war?
Blessed be the Lord, my rock, who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle.
How Christian nationalism may be underlying the U.S. and Israeli attacks on Iran. Defending and developing the North, Canada's new $35 billion plan for the Arctic. Plus, flower power.
We are seeing the best bloom in a decade.
What's fueled the rare blossoming of botanical life in Death Valley?
Global National with Donna Friesen.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Iran's new supreme leader has put out a defiant message, his first since taking over from his father, who was killed in the first days of this war. Mujtaba Khamenei vows to keep blocking the vital shipping lane, the Strait of Hormuz. 2 more tankers.
Us forever. Breathtaking stuff. For inspirational stories of creativity, ABC iView.
Today, the federal government announces new measures to address fuel concerns triggered by the Middle East war.
As the supply chain has struggled to cope with massive spikes in demand, a doubling of demand for petrol and diesel.
Rescue efforts underway after a U.S. military plane with 6 people on board crashes in western Iraq. Residents in Queensland and the Top End begin cleaning up after record-breaking floods. And the Matildas prepare to take on North Korea tonight for a place in the Asian Cup semi-final. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Ros Childs. The federal government is releasing 762 million litres of petrol and diesel from Australia's domestic reserves in an effort to address supply issues stemming from the war.
This is Sky News, the headlines. The US announces it will temporarily ease sanctions on Russian oil as the global fallout from the Iran war continues. Rescue efforts underway after a US refueling plane with 5 on board went down in Iraq. One of Donald Trump's most senior cabinet members has told Sky News that the US Navy will break Iran's blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. The Prime Minister admits again that hiring Peter Mandelson was his mistake and no one else's. And a woman who forced another woman to be her family's slave for more than 25 years is sentenced to 13 years in prison. Hello and welcome. We begin with breaking news. The US Treasury has announced it will temporarily ease sanctions on Russian oil. The department said that it was granting a license that authorizes the delivery and sale of some...
This is Asia Now.
It's 12 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 9:30 in New Delhi, and 11 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Rani Samtani. At this hour, rescue efforts are underway after a U.S. military refueling plane crashed in Iraq during operations against Iran. An Iran-backed group claims responsibility, but U.S. officials say there's no indication of hostile fire. In his first comments since taking power, Iran's new supreme leader warns neighboring states to shut U.S. bases or continue to face Iranian strikes as the war nears the 2-week mark. He also vows to keep the Strait of Hormuz closed. The U.S. issues a 30-day waiver allowing countries to buy sanctioned Russian oil stuck at sea. Oil prices, though, once again pushing above $100 a barrel, despite efforts to calm fuel markets, including the coordinated release of strategic reserves by the International Energy Agency. Also coming up, the U.S. launches fresh trade probes into 60 economies over alleged forced labor practices as the Trump administration tries to rebuild tariff pressure.
Since last night, 4 tankers have been attacked in the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranian regime is being systematically decimated, so economic warfare is their last resort. The Iranians clipping the ships with unmanned drones and small rocket fire, doing small amounts of damage, but just enough to rattle the insurance underwriters and slow down oil flow. A senior White House official tells Axios, quote, "The Iranians effing around with the Strait makes Trump more dug in." Oil spiked on the news, and Brent crude closed around $100 a barrel.
We're going to be in very good shape. You see what's happening. They are pretty much at the end of the line. Doesn't mean we're going to end it immediately, but they've got no Navy, they've got no Air Force, they've got no anti-air traffic, anything. They have no systems of control. We're just riding free range over that country. And now we're going to look very strongly at the Straits.
We reopened the Strait before, in the 80s, during the tanker wars, when Iraq was doing battle with Iran. Fortunately, today, we're in good hands. Former CIA Director General Petraeus explains why.
How wonderful that we actually have an admiral in charge of U.S. Central Command instead of soldiers like me or Marines like some of the others. He knows this strait. He's been through it innumerable times. He knows they were ready for this.
CENTCOM Commander Brad Cooper's already sunk Iran's Navy, but they still have the Mosquito Fleet. little speedboats. They're a pest in the Gulf. Some are loaded up with rockets and drones. They haven't yet, but Iran can also mine the strait. Mines can either be anchored to the seabed or moored on a chain and can detonate over 250 pounds of explosives. We've already sank 30 Iranian mine-laying seacraft, but the Iranians have mobile surface-to-ship missile batteries on the coastline. So the United States is going to have to strike Iranian ports and pacify any aggression on the shore. That's going to take a couple of weeks. Right now, the thinking is we can do it without boots on the ground. And while that the U.S. Navy and others could provide cons.
Is it your belief that the volume of ships going through the Strait of Hormuz will be improving immediately?
Africa News. The news.
Authorities in the Democratic Republic of Congo on Thursday that they had begun investigations into the drone attack. It was the exact circumstances had areas as well as origin of the reported explosions are currently under investigations. They further noted that they are monitoring the situation, also offering condolences to the aggrieved families. The strike's origin remained unclear. The Congolese army stationed some several hundred kilometers from Goma regularly launches long-range drone strike on the M23's positions in the east.
Nigeria has begun evacuating its citizens stranded in Iran as Israel and US bombings continue in Tehran and other cities. The Nigerians in Diaspora Commissions confirmed Tuesday that no Nigerian has been affected by the conflict so far. Officials are stationed at the Armenian border to receive and assist evacuees. Nigerians who wish to leave Iran are being safely escorted across the Armenian border by embassy officials, ensuring a smooth and secure passage, the commission said in a statement. The number of Nigerians in Iran and those already evacuated has not been disclosed. African nations are rushing to repatriate their nationals from the Middle East. Iran reports the war has killed more than 1,255 people and injured about has released from medical leave. 3.
This is DW News. These are our top stories. Iran's Supreme Leader Moshtaba Khamenei has vowed to keep the Strait of Hormuz closed and said that Iran's attacks on its Gulf neighbors will continue. It was his first statement since his appointment. The latest attacks on shipping and energy infrastructure in the Gulf region sent oil prices back above $100 per barrel. Iran target energy infrastructure across the Gulf region in retaliation. In Bahrain, a fuel deposit was set ablaze. Kuwait, the UAE, Oman and Saudi Arabia have also reported drone and missile attacks. A man has been fatally shot by security after ramming a vehicle into a synagogue near Detroit, Michigan. The man, who was also armed with a rifle, had driven through a set of doors and inside the building, where he was killed. None of the synagogue staff or any visitors present were injured, according to reports.
welcome to Night Watch on France 24. I'm Charlotte Hughes, and here are our main headlines at this hour. Several French soldiers are wounded and one killed in a drone attack in the Erbil region of Iraq. It's currently unclear who is behind the incident. The region has been targeted by multiple attacks attributed to pro-Iranian factions since the outbreak of the current war in the Middle East. A US military refueling aircraft crashes in western Iraq in an incident US Central Command said involved another plane but was not due to hostile or friendly fire. The status of the crew is unknown for the time being. Rescue efforts are underway. And Iran will continue blocking the Strait of Hormuz, a vital corridor for oil transport, as leverage against the US and Israel. This according to a statement attributed to Iran's new supreme.
Thank you for watching. I'm Shakil 5858. I hope you will come again. Have a good life. Bye-bye.